Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Challenging Torah, Torah Va-yak-hel. These are the second two Torah portions that talk about the building of the tabernacle. And as we begin this round of speaking of the building of the tabernacle, we begin not with the tabernacle, but with Shabbat. So it is a Shabbat Shalom. And we begin with, these are the things the Lord has commanded you to do. On 6 days, all your work may be done, but on the seventh, this is a day of complete rest, holy to the Lord your God. Now go build the tabernacle. Why do we begin with Shabbat? And the sages tell us that Bezalel, who was appointed, we know, to be God's major architect foreman, the one who understood how to put letters and images and words together to make the ephemeral real, began first by understanding the process of how God created the world. God created the world and then rested. And if we don't have the rhythm of 6 days and a day of rest, we will not be able to join holy space with holy time. We begin with a cathedral in time, as Heschel says, as we create the Shabbat experience. And then we ground it, we root it in the physicality of the world. So the Mishkan, which we know is to be a space, make me a space, and I will dwell with you, God says, is a space where the spiritual can connect with the physical. But it doesn't negate the physical at all. As a matter of fact, we are asked to bring everything that expresses the beauty and glory of God's universe, much as God expresses God's self in the moment of creation. And so, bring me everything from gold, silver, copper, scarlet, blue, lapis lazuli, oil, goat skin, even they say dolphin skins, not our dolphins, oil for the light, aromatic spices for the incense, everything that is tactile, everything that allows our senses to understand and appreciate the glory of God. Bring me gifts, terumah, that which your heart makes willing. And so the people begin to bring gifts, and they bring, and they bring, and they bring, and they're into it, they bring. And finally Moses says, stop, that's enough, we don't need any more. Can you imagine a building fund where we called up donors and said, we don't really need any more money, but in this building project, there has to be a moment where the physicality doesn't overwhelm the spirituality. It's not all about the building. And so the people stop bringing. And they bring each one according to his heart, according to his gifts, but they restrain themselves. It's so hard for us to know where boundaries are. We get very enthusiastic about projects. We get very enthusiastic about the work or the feeling of the burden of the work that we do to maintain our physical lives. And we think, you know, when I retire, I will make Shabbat. Well, that day will never happen. When you live and work a full 6-day week, you will at least have 1 day of rest on the seventh, God says. That's how I created the world. That's how you will create the world around you. And no, it's not the day to go build the building. And so as sacred as the task is, we are to refrain, to understand boundaries, so that the spiritual can fill, the spiritual realms can fill themselves and the physical to the right proportion, and vice versa. And we need to keep our own lives in balance as well. And so they leave off bringing. Their efforts have been more than enough. And each one of us needs to know when to just turn the computer off, put the cell phone in its little sleeping bag, and make a real space for Shabbat. As the cathedral in time meets the cathedral in space. Hopefully, you will come this Saturday and join us as we examine these challenges of our lives and the balance and imbalances of our life, and know when enough is enough to make the spiritual and the physical meet. Shabbat Shalom.